from the station that is local for you. NBC4 at 11 starts now.
Everybody out.
Tonight, we are seeing horrific cell phone video taken by a Columbus bus passenger moments after a tour bus crashed, flipped, and slid across the Pennsylvania Turnpike. A massive pileup left 5 people dead, dozens more hurt, including children. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daniela Vitable. Trucks from both FedEx and UPS were involved in the crash. UPS just confirmed 2 of their drivers were killed. 48-year-old Dennis Keller and 53-year-old Daniel Kepner. We have team coverage with Storm Team 4 meteorologist Ben Gelber for the weather conditions at the time of the crash, and NBC4's Eric Halperin, who spoke with people who finally made it home after being on the bus that flipped this morning. We'll hear from him in just a moment. But first, we want to get you up to speed. The crash happened around 3:30 this morning on the Pennsylvania Turnpike southeast of Pittsburgh. The National Transportation Safety Board has been investigating the crash scene between mile markers 75 and 91. Here's video from above showing the deadly pileup. 3 tractor trailers, a tour bus, and passenger cars were involved. State police said the tour bus was traveling on a downhill curve and struck an embankment. That's when the other vehicles crashed into it. The bus left New Jersey last night and was making its way to Cincinnati with a stop at Columbus along the way. We spoke with a local passenger who was able to walk away from this crash.
This wasn't necessarily a second chance. It was just a near-death experience that says this isn't your time. You better achieve your goals while you have the time.
An 86-mile stretch of the turnpike was shut down in both directions for several hours. NBC4's Eric Halperin is live in downtown Columbus at the bus station. Eric, people who were on the bus when it crashed made it back home not too long ago.
And Danielle, one of the passengers tells me the memory of this crash keeps playing over and over again in his head. A number of those passengers finally got back here around 7:30 tonight. Originally, they were supposed to get here at 7:30 this morning.
Somehow I'm still alive, bro.
Once Lamar Brady got out of the wrecked bus through an escape hatch, he started taking this video.
The front part's over here. That's the front part of the bus.
Because of the deadly crash on the Pennsylvania Turnpike early Sunday morning, he got back into Columbus 12 hours later than he was supposed to. But the timing doesn't bother him. He's just glad to be back.
I'm happy I'm back here. I wish it was under better circumstances, of course.
Others were happy too, like this mom holding her son tight after a terrifying morning.
That thing is non-existent.
According to police, there were kids as young as 7 years old on the bus. Brady says he tried to do all he could to keep those kids calm. He also came across this crunched white car.
Is this driver okay?
Brady was one of dozens on board. He picked the bus up in New York. Its final destination was supposed to be Cincinnati, with a stop in Columbus on the way. Brady was awake around 3:45 a.m. when it crashed.
We were behind the FedEx truck. We went to the passing lane, and he tried to go back over to the right lane. He overcorrected or oversteered, and then overcorrected it, and we crashed into the, we clipped the median.
He says the bus then slammed into an embankment, ended up on its side across all lanes of the highway, and then got hit by a truck.
I was fully awake when it happened. I still see the bus crashing every second of it. I can see it in my head replaying over and over.
And Brady says his back is killing him, and he also hurt his arm. He also told me that several of the other passengers are still in the hospital tonight. According to police, the bus was being operated by a New Jersey-based company called Z&D Tours. We have reached out to that company several times today and have not heard back. Live and local for you in Columbus, I'm Eric Halperin, NBC4.
Thanks so much, Eric. During a news conference this evening, NTSB officials said they will be collecting evidence on site for 7 to 10 days.
And we have a group of experts who will focus on roadway design, driver performance, motor carrier compliance, mechanical aspects of the vehicle, survival factors, accident reconstruction.
And snow was coming down at the time of the crash. The spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Turnpike said the road conditions seemed to be fine in that area and were treated. However, the NTSB is looking at all factors, including weather. NBC4 meteorologist Ben Gelber now joins us with what conditions were like in that area this morning. And Ben, you are very familiar with this stretch of the Turnpike.
From experience, this section of road about 40 miles east of Pittsburgh in the Laurel Highlands is challenging because of the rapid change in elevation and narrow corridors between the rugged hillsides with little maneuvering room. Now, we can look back at road conditions at 3:40 this morning when our map indicated roads were snow covered, but treated highways can also develop slushy patches. Road temperatures right around 31 degrees, the air temperature at 29 degrees, and you can see the accident just northeast of Mount Pleasant. Now, a map of the terrain shows the winding nature of the Pennsylvania Turnpike through the mountains westbound, dark green representing higher terrain surrounded by steeper valleys in brown shades. Now, another factor that will be taken into consideration is visibility. Radar showing lake-enhanced snow falling throughout the night as moist air was forced to rise over the Allegheny Plateau. As Danielle said, the National Transportation Safety Board will ultimately determine the cause of the crash. It's not clear if weather played a role, but this section of Turnpike historically on the eastern side of the Alleghenies is certainly susceptible to sudden weather changes.
Thanks, Ben. And since we found out about the crash, we've been looking into the bus company Z&D Tour out of Rockaway, New Jersey. Records with the Department of Transportation show a satisfactory safety review, no crashes within the past 2 years, and only minor violations. Last June, a driver was cited for a lane restriction violation and speeding. In November, there were 2 vehicle maintenance citations. We reached out to the bus company via phone and email for a comment, but haven't heard back. As soon as we hear back, we'll be sure to let you know. And we're staying on top of this story and we'll bring you the latest on air and online. So be sure to follow us on NBC4i.com. Police have arrested 2 people in connection with a homicide in Athens. Police in Raleigh, West Virginia arrested 26-year-old Dylan Secoy and Rachel Pawlowski. Secoy is charged with murder. Pawlowski is charged with complicity to murder. They're charged in connection with the shooting death of Floyd Hart that happened around 5 this morning on West Washington Street in Athens. A child is recovering in the hospital tonight after a house fire in Pickerington. Crews were out fighting the flames at a home on Bedford Court. The American Red Cross is now taking care of the family. No word on what caused the fire. Police say a man pulled a knife on a Walmart employee in West Columbus, and now they need your help to find him. Take a look at these pictures from the Walmart on West Point Drive. Investigators say a Walmart employee caught the man shoplifting this morning around 10:30. Police say the suspect then threatened the worker with a knife, dropped the bag which contained the stolen items, and ran off. If you have any information, call police. Iraq's parliament called for the removal of all U.S. troops from its country after an airstrike killed a top Iranian military general near the Baghdad airport. The U.S. is asking Iraq to reconsider. NBC's Jennifer Johnson reports from Washington.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on every network morning show defending the airstrike that killed Iran's top military leader, General Qasem Soleimani.
That there were in fact plots that he was working on that were aimed directly at significant harm to American interests throughout the region, not just in Iraq. And President Trump made the decision this was the time to stop this reign of terror. President Trump tweeting a stark warning to Iranian leaders, saying if they retaliate, the U.S. has targeted 52 Iranian sites, representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago. That led to members of Iran's parliament to chant "Death to America" as thousands of Iranians marched in a funeral procession for Soleimani. Iraq's parliament has called for all U.S. troops, over 5,000, to leave that country as the Pentagon deploys an additional 3,200 troops to the region. Democrats demanding details on the intelligence that led the president to order this strike.
The claim of an imminent threat, they have not supported. And what we do know is this dramatic escalation is now putting Americans at greater risk.
Many Americans and lawmakers are concerned about what comes next.
What do we know Iran has in its range of retaliations, and how are we going to prepare for them?
The president facing criticism from home for not informing the entire so-called Gang of Eight, top leaders from both parties in Congress, before ordering the strike.
But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says all senators will be briefed on the intelligence that led to this deadly airstrike sometime this week. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
A deadly attack on a U.S. military base in Kenya. Details on American deaths ahead. And assessing the damage from the ongoing Australian bushfires. How firefighters are dealing with the stress. Next on NBC4 at 11. Ben?
Danielle, we return to more seasonable January weather after several days in the 50s, though still at 40 degrees above normal, and that's about where we are now. But coming up, we'll take a look at what could be the start of a more significant cold wave. I'll let you know when that arrives. Monday looks nice, though, with some sunshine. Your forecast is coming up.